Well, Harrison, the first thing I've got to ask you today is, has it sunk in? You have booked your flight to Tokyo.
No, I know it hasn't really sunk in yet. I think I got my kit the other day, and I think started to then, but I think when we get on that plane, I think that's when it's going to really start to sink in for me.
I bet it was good getting the kit, though. That was a good landmark moment, right?
Yeah, crazy. Because obviously I'd done it through rugby, so I'd kind of been through that kind of thing. So it's quite a nice full circle moment for me, almost going from rugby to this and experiencing the same kind of feelings throughout. So that's brilliant. And yeah, that was the start of getting excited for it, I think, for me. Obviously, I'm excited immensely, but we'll continue.
Without wishing to use a cliche, let's talk about your journey, because you alluded to the fact that rugby, you were an incredibly good rugby player, and then obviously you had an accident, and then from my perspective, from everyone's perspective at DSW, you've had pretty much a meteoric rise in athletics. Can you quite believe that you've got to this point in your career where you're about to embark on the international stage and the Paralympics in such a short period of time?
In short, no. I remember, funny enough, having the phone call with Anthony it would have been about 3 or 4 years ago now, when I first started to get into the fold. And I remember him talking about Tokyo, and he's saying, Tokyo's out the question, like the next one after that. And, we'll get you in, we'll get you started training. And I always remember that saying, he said, it's a bit far away. So I always kind of had that in my head, it's a bit far away. And now we're here. And in all fairness, the lockdown, that extra year, has helped me massively, which I don't think many other athletes can really say that for the lockdown. And it's actually benefited me. And, to think, I think it was about 4 years ago when I started, it might be even a bit less than that, and just to think where I am now is just mad. And then to think back 7 years ago when I got injured, that's even more crazy to think of where I am right now and where I was. I'm a thrower now. Sometimes I forget that I was a rugby player, so which is a really nice feeling to have.
Yeah,
I think that's something that's really helped me get on to where we are right now.
And I think it goes to show, doesn't it, that what sport can do, it can transform lives, it can inspire. And that's definitely the case with you, because sport has always been an inherent part of your life, hasn't it? It's in your DNA, really.
100%. It gives a focus. And I think whether that's a young child or an adult, there's always something that you've got to do. And it gives purpose to certain things as well. And it really helped me switching from rugby. Obviously, that was something I wanted to do from a very young age, and was fortunate enough to do it as a career. And then having that taken away, I needed something to focus on, and that was sport. And that wasn't necessarily throwing at the time, because I didn't know where I was going to go. But that continuation of sport then helped me get into throwing eventually, when that path was forged. So, and this is where it's led me here now. So, and I think that ability to devote yourself to a sport has helped me immensely, and I think it helps millions of people around the world, especially when it comes to disabled people as well.
And talking about your physique, as you were growing up as a rugby player, you're such a powerhouse, and it feels like a natural kind of transition to go into throwing, because I've watched you, I've seen videos of you, and wow, you've got some serious power behind you. So it kind of it works, doesn't it, in terms of your chosen sport now?
It kind of flowed quite nicely into it. However, I will say, a lot of people see big guys who play rugby and then big guys who throw and think, oh, well, they must be able to do the same thing. But it is completely different. Obviously you've got fundamental fact that one's a team sport, one's an individual sport. So that's a massive difference. Then also, you're just different athletes. You've got to play for 80 minutes, whereas you've got to throw for 2 seconds. There's two very different things going on.
Those 2 seconds matter, don't they?
Yes, exactly. Whereas when I first transferred over, I was terrible. You think you're a big guy, you think you're going to be big and strong, and then you get beaten by guys who are much smaller than you. And you're like, oh, what, it. And I think that light lit a fire under me to be like, right, this is what you can dedicate yourself to train as hard as you can. And you're going to see outcomes. And that was something that maybe I didn't have in rugby before. And maybe it's something I suited that I didn't realize, because the opportunity for me when I was younger was much more around rugby than it was anything else. Maybe because I was good at it, but, I'd never had that ability to really see my progress. Whereas in athletics and individual sport, you have that, and that's something I've loved. So that's something also that's really helped me through this journey.
And I think you've been really honest about the postponement of Tokyo has worked in your favour.
100%.
But I wanted to ask you what COVID was like for you. Everyone's faced their own personal challenges, but also the distinct lack of competition. Although saying that, it didn't sway you in the slightest, because you went to Poland, you smashed it out of the park at the Euro Parathletics Championships, and got a bronze and a PB to boot. So with lack of competition, you still absolutely nailed it in Poland.
Well, funny enough, I talked about how COVID, that situation actually helped me. And I think it helped me in a number of ways. Rather than just having an extra year, it gave me an extra year to explore and understand me as a thrower, me as an athlete, me as a, para athlete as well. I think I spent most of the lockdown throwing off a footpath into a big field and then training in my gym. I was very fortunate to have my own gym at the time, but that allowed me to go and explore the technique, go and explore my throwing journey and how I'm going to go about it. And I didn't have that because I was almost fast tracked into the sport. So whenever people talk to me about it, I often talk about how when you're younger and you're playing football with your mates, you just enjoy. You just go and kick a football about. You play headers and volleys, you play five-a-side, whatever it is. You're not constantly worried about performance at that time. And what lockdown gave me was that ability to go out and explore and enjoy and understand myself. And that's something that has propelled me on more. So it's not just the time, it's also the time spent understanding myself and exploring the sport itself. So that I think I will always be grateful for. And yeah, I'm probably one of the only athletes going to say that I benefited from it. But that's and I'm young in the sport necessarily, so.
And we all need mentors. We all need people to cheer us on, look after us in all walks of life, and just try to put into words what the likes of Nathan Stevens has done for you during this time.
So Nathan is my coach, for one, so he's helping my coaching, but also having someone like Nathan, like a role model to look up to. And he's been to all these fantastic games, won all these medals, and world record holder. He lights a path for you to follow, and then also allows you and facilitates you on your own journey to explore and understand yourself within the sport. So he's a brilliant mentor and just also an amazing guy to be around. So and all these like little stories he'll have about the games and trying to understand that. And weirdly, I'm talking to him about what Tokyo is going to be like, what's the Paralympic Games going to be like, what's the village going to be like. And he's saying, well, I don't know, because Tokyo is going to be completely different in terms of COVID. So, but he does everything he can to provide me with the best platform to improve. So.
Yeah, talk about inspiring and influencing. So how are we feeling? We're on the countdown now. Big announcement has been made. You've booked your flight, you've booked your place. So generally feeling in a good place, ready for it?
Ready to compete. It feels like I'm excited to get out there, obviously. Like I'm excited for the experience and then very focused on the competition at the same time. So I came back from Poland being like, I cannot wait. If I get selected, cannot wait to go, because it was just the best. Being out there with a team, obviously I competed really well, and I'm just excited to go out and show the world what I'm about, really. And that's everything to me, really. Yeah.
Well, you're completely focused. I'm sure the whole of Mumbles, Swansea and Wales are going to be
Yeah.
just focusing on you. We'll be shouting from the rooftops, hoping you can just do the best you possibly can. So all the best, and thank you for chatting to us today.
Well, thank you very much.